Well, that was a good episode to say the least. Welcome to Slice TV. Game of Thrones season 6 episode 9 Battle of the Bastards. Yeah, so welcome to Slice TV. If you guys are new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, but let's right into the episode. So, man, what an episode, right? All right, so we start off. I mean, first of all, actually before we even get to the beginning, let's address the elephant in the room. That fight scene was absolutely amazing. Absolutely good. I loved that more than I think I've loved anything else. And this has to be, maybe this is just the emotions talking from the straight after watching the show from the episode Syndrome, but this is probably my absolute favorite episode of this entire season. Not even season, probably the entire show. This episode was insanely good. Absolutely great. Wonderful. Absolutely loved it. So let's just start from the beginning and try to keep our calm about that insanely good fight scene that lasted a long time. But let's jump off in the very beginning of the episode. Game of Thrones season 6 episode 9. So at first we see Dany getting attacked, right? It was just Daenerys getting attacked by the slave masters, which we saw a little bit last episode. It was good. It was good seeing Tyrion and Dany get together and actually start talking and working on something. That was great. It was good seeing them all get together and everything. But then they start talking, and Dany just starts talking about how she wants to crucify the masters, and Tyrion's like, "Look, your father had crazy plans in times of defeat. Let's not reenact his. Let's actually form a plan here." And so they start talking to the slave masters, and the slave masters are like, "All right, here we can talk about your surrender." And then Dany's like, "Well, you got this a little bit wrong. We're talking about your surrender." And then the dragons come out. Drogo comes out. He's insanely huge. I mean, literally, like his jaw is as big as Daenerys herself. And of course, she gets on top and she goes out to the ships and she's sitting there and she says Dracarys or whatever accent that is, and they start firing up those ships. It was absolutely great. Loved it. And then we get the first Battle of the Bastards scene, and the first Battle of the Bastards scene was just Jon and Ramsay talking. It was just all of them talking out there, and then they're talking about just what's gonna happen, and then Sansa just says, "You're gonna die tomorrow," and then goes away. And I thought just that line was really good. Just plain and simple, "You're gonna die tomorrow." And of course, as we know, spoiler alert, that was true. He died the next day. But there was a lot of times where I was thinking, that Ramsay might just kill them right now. Like during that scene, I was thinking, it wouldn't be past Ramsay to just be like, "Let's kill him now." Just shoot Jon, Sansa, and all them right then, right there. That honestly wouldn't have surprised me one bit, to be honest with you. That seems like that could be a thing that would happen. Just Ramsay, just forget it. We're killing him right now. That I don't know. That wouldn't have surprised me really. It would have been completely normal to me, if that would have happened. So, moving on a little bit more, we get back in Jon's camp where they're discussing the battle plans and all that. And I don't know, seeing Davos out there, and then they're talking about like what they're doing that night, and he says that he's gonna go walk and think until he's far enough away that he can go take a shit. So that was that was a good line as well. And right after that, Jon visits the Red Woman, and he basically says, if I die tomorrow in this fight, if I die, don't bring me back. I don't want to come back. I want to stay dead. Which to me was just kind of sad. Seeing Jon as like just thinking for a fact that Jon could die tomorrow. Like this is Game of Thrones. Jon could easily die tomorrow, and that would be that. Like that's it. But I don't know. That wouldn't have. I mean, that would have surprised me, but it wouldn't have done anything special to me. I wouldn't have put it past Game of Thrones. They've already done it once. But yeah, so Davos finds the burning doll, right? The burnt doll. He found that, and I don't know, it brought back a lot of old memories of just that whole scene where they were burning her alive. without Davos knowing and all that. It just brought back some sad memories of all that, which was just really sad and just gave me some of the feels and all that. But we're back after that to the actual battle after that scene. Man, it just crazy, right? So before we get into the actual battle part, I want to say that I actually really admired this episode. We literally only saw Daenerys and Jon. Like, those were the only two characters that we followed in this episode, was the battle scene and Daenerys. We barely saw any of the Daenerys, which we don't really see much. A lot of times we see just snippets of everything compiled into an hour-long episode because we have so many characters and so many different storylines to follow. I don't know. It felt really nice just actually getting a solid storyline, progressed really far and really in detail, and just a really cool scene. It felt really good seeing all that actually portrayed in this episode. So that was really cool. So, moving on to the battle. So we start off the battle, and we see these burning bodies up, which I don't know. I guess it was supposed to shock us, but that didn't really shock me at all. I mean, it's Ramsay we're talking about here, okay? Like, burning bodies it's not new to him. That's something that he does on a daily, is just burn bodies and all that. So, you see Ramsay coming off and you see he's holding a leash, and I mean, I kind of knew it was Rickon, but in my heart I was like, please don't be Rickon. Like, please don't have Rickon on a leash. I thought that it was gonna be like tied around his neck. I thought it was gonna be like a dog leash or something, not just tied around his hands. So that was a little bit more respectable. And Ramsay pulls him out on the leash, and he plays a game with Rickon. He cuts him loose, and he says, I want you to run to your brother. And I mean, I kind of knew what was going to happen. I knew that they'd start shooting at him, but I thought it was going to be everyone, not just Ramsay. And I'm not actually too sure if Ramsay's even the one that killed him, because at the very end, Ramsay shot and missed, and then I don't know. It just seems like it would have taken him that was too quick for him to like actually load up another shot and be accurate with it. I feel like he had like someone else do it, but I don't know. That was God. I mean, like, I thought that last one, I was like, yeah, they're killing Rickon here, and then they didn't, and I was like, oh my God, like, wow. And then, man, they did. They shot Rickon, which I wrote in all caps. I was like, oh my God, they just killed Rickon. And then of course Jon goes ape shit. He rushes into him, and right there, honestly, it wouldn't have put me past it from all the references of Jon dying again from that conversation with the Red Woman. It just wouldn't have it wouldn't have shocked me, and it wouldn't have, I mean, I wouldn't put it past Game of Thrones, I guess is what I'm trying to say, to actually have killed Jon right then, right there when he rushed up, because he made a mistake. He shouldn't have rushed up. He acted out of emotion, and when you make mistakes in Game of Thrones, you get punished. Like, there's not a lot of mercy in Game of Thrones, and it just that I actually thought that was it for Jon. I thought, you know what? Oh my God, they're about to kill him again. Like, oh my God, they killed him at the end of last season, and they're killing him at the end of this season. But yeah. So, God, that was something else. Okay, so, man, after that. After he shot Rickon, of course that's when it all started. But like, right when he shot Rickon, it just sends like this vibe down your spine, like, oh my God, like, that's something else. Like, he just killed his brother while he was inches away from saving him. Jon was inches away from saving him, and he got shot. And that's something else. But okay, so I mean, of course, other things happen. They rush in, they start fighting. Jon starts killing people. Obviously, it's the normal battle stuff, which was actually really good. Like, I didn't expect the battle scenes to be that good. They were really, really well paced out and really well made, just in general. And I thought it was just really good. I thought the pacing of that fight was awesome. I thought the entire thing was really cool. So, the next thing I wrote down is just the Giant's here. Like, the Giant comes in. And right when the Giant comes in, you see Ramsay say it's time. And of course, none of us really knew what that was, because this isn't like a normal fight thing that you normally see in Game of Thrones. They actually just circled them. They circled them, and that was actually a scary moment. I was thinking that, the one thing about Game of Thrones is you don't know. Like, they literally, it could have happened. Like, they could have just killed him. Ramsay could have won. I mean, Sansa wasn't there, so it's not like it wouldn't. I mean, there'd still be a Stark. There's still a chance for the Starks, but like that wouldn't have shocked me if Ramsay would have won that fight. Like, that's something that easily could have happened. So obviously they're surrounding him. It's a very intense scene. I didn't really understand what was happening. With Jon fell and he couldn't get up. I didn't really understand what was going on. But it was just kind of like, I guess he was like getting piled under the bodies or something. I couldn't really tell from the angles that they shot. I guess that's what they were trying to say. But man, there was a lot of dead bodies. There was piles and piles and piles of dead bodies, and that was just incredibly just not good. It was very sad seeing all those people die. But one thing I do wish we would have seen more is just the people of Bear Island, just more of that, more of her, or the little girl, I forget her name, but just more of her in general. That would have been cool during that fight, just seeing her in the background or something. But yeah, I don't know. Seeing Jon in that situation, being like, I guess, just trampled by everyone trying to get out of that while they were just closing in on him. It was just kind of like, oh my, you realize like what's actually going on in this fight, like what's at stake and everything. But so they're getting trapped in there, and then you hear the thing, and you hear the Knights of the Vale coming, and I mean, of course, as soon as we heard that, obviously we all knew that was the Knights of the Vale from the little hints that we've been getting for the past, I think, 2 episodes maybe. That Sansa's been contacting Littlefinger, and yeah, so that was something else. I don't know. It was seeing them there. I mean, it was obviously, it was kind of not cheesy, I wouldn't say, but like I wish they wouldn't have like done something about it. You know, like I wish they wouldn't have referenced it as much. But I don't know. Oh, excuse me. I don't know. That would have just been a lot cooler in general if we didn't expect it so much, if we didn't know what that was or whatever. But I don't really know how they could have portrayed it if they didn't. But whatever. I mean, the Knights of the Vale came in. That was good. I wrote that down in all caps because I was kind of worried for our characters, and I wrote down in all caps, Knights of the Vale. Just Knights of the Vale. They showed up. They're here, and that was exciting, seeing the Knights of the Vale come there and just basically save them, and just run through them, and just, God, seeing the way that they fight, the Knights of the Vale, is very different. They're very proper in the way that they fight. They don't get down and dirty like most people do. They're very proper in the way that they're fighting. It works. Like, I don't know. It's different, but like I was saying, it works. And so the Knights of the Vale, they fight and they save them basically. And once that happens, you see them turn around. They turn around, and Ramsay goes in the castle and he says, "We have Winterfell. They don't. All we have to do is wait." And the moment they said that, I was thinking, what are you doing? They've got a giant. Like, you just put a little board on the door. They've got a giant. You can easily break through that, which he does. And the giant, man, the giant was a hero. It was super sad to see him die. I mean, I was trying to put myself in Jon's shoes in that situation. Like, what do you say to him? What would you say to the giant to make him, like, I guess, go peacefully or whatever? But like, everything that he's done for you, like, I mean, of course Jon saved him and now he's paid him back, but like, the giant could have just not done that. Like, he could have just not broken the wall. Like, he knew that he was going to die going into this fight, because obviously they're going to target the giant. He's an easy target, and so he had to know, I'm going to die if I go and fight this, but he did it anyways, which is insanely respectable. And that giant, man, that giant was a hero, and It was sad seeing him die. It was very, very emotional seeing that giant die in the way that he did. Yeah, that was just a very sad scene. And then, of course, God, seeing Jon just absolutely destroy Ramsay, just the one-on-one combat. Ramsay's like, you know what, that doesn't sound like a bad idea, because obviously they're in the, with the Knights of the Vale there now, they're on the losing side, but what just confuses me, like, why would you pull out a bow when you're literally that close to each other and you miss the first two, not miss, but he blocks the first 2 shots? Why would you not pull out a knife or something? I mean, I guess he just knew he had no chance, but like, I don't know. I feel like he should have put up more of a fight, because Jon, God, though, I've got to say, seeing Jon just beat him and beat him and beat him was so pleasing. I don't think I've ever enjoyed watching someone get beat so far and so hard ever. Like, this death was far more pleasing than Joffrey's death. Joffrey's death was by far pleasing. He was horrible person. Everyone hated him. But his death, I mean, you kind of felt bad. I guess it's because of the emotion in the family around him, like Cersei. But with Ramsay's death, it was literally like he's a horrible person who's done insanely horrible things and literally has zero sympathy. Like, no one at all loves him. Like, Joffrey had his family, or some of his family at least. Ramsay had nothing. Absolutely nothing. So there was no remorse for him. Like, I literally enjoyed him dying so much. And then I wish Jon wouldn't have stopped, to be honest. I wish that would have gone on, or I don't know. I mean, I like the way that they ended up killing him with just Sansa looking at him, and then she finds out where he is, and she goes down there, and that he's like, the dogs will never betray me. They're my hounds. They love me. They're loyal. And then God, them eating him alive was also insanely pleasing. Way more pleasing than it probably should have been. I don't know. It's just, it's so weird saying that, like, someone's death and someone getting tortured like that is pleasing. But when it's Ramsay, it's like, oh my God, like, he deserves it. And I honestly think that if I was them, I would have, like, because his torture equipment's still down there, like where he tortured Theon. I was thinking maybe that Jon tied him up there. And maybe there would have been a point in the future where Theon would have come back and Theon would have tortured Ramsay the same way that Ramsay tortured Theon. That's what I was kind of, in my mind, that's what I was kind of thinking would happen, which obviously it didn't. It didn't happen like that, which was, whatever, fine. He's dead. We don't have to worry about him anymore, which is good. I'm just glad we don't have to worry about Ramsay anymore, which, I don't know. I'm glad he's dead. He's horrible, and yeah, so that episode was great. I actually skipped over one part, which I want to go back and talk about in a second. But I don't know, seeing Ramsay being eaten by those dogs was great. I don't know, it was something else. But let's go back and touch on the Daenerys and Theon part, which I think I guess I skipped it over in my notes. I don't know, I kind of just lost track of where I was. But yeah, so maybe I don't know. I could have sworn I wrote it, but okay. So I mean I pretty much know what happened, so it's no big deal. But we see Theon and his sister there with Daenerys and Tyrion, which was quite a scene. Seeing such different people interact with each other, it's just. I mean, it was weird seeing Tyrion and Varys whenever they first got Daenerys, and I guess we're just feeling that same feeling now. But like. Daenerys, it feels like Daenerys is so far away from everyone else and just out of contact with everyone else. And I mean, she's far, but she's not like unreachable, which we see by Theon and his sister getting there. And I don't know. It was, I mean, that scene, to be honest, I mean, it didn't like trigger me or anything, but it was kind of sexist. Well, I mean, once she found out that I mean, I understand where she's coming from though. There's no queens. And there's no, like, girl rulers, and Dany wants to be the first girl ruler, and now that she sees that another girl wants to be the first girl ruler in her little place, she's obviously going to take some respect for that, which I understand. So that was an interesting scene, seeing them talk, but, like, I don't know, seeing them together just, I don't know, it was kind of weird, just seeing such separate characters that it almost seems like two different shows. It literally could be two separate shows. Daenerys' like storyline and then everyone else's, because she's so out of contact and out of reach from everyone. But now that we're like actually seeing just Theon, who's grown up in like Winterfell with Jon, with Ned, and then went to the Iron Island, like, seeing a character from his standpoint travel over to Daenerys was interesting, to say the least. And, yeah, so, I mean, that pretty much wraps up the episode. I've got to say it's my favorite episode so far. I don't know. I think, again, like I said in the beginning of this, it might be the emotions talking, but this might be one of my favorite episodes, like, of the entire season, and maybe even of the entire show, because it's just so much, like, the fight scene was so good. It wasn't like drawn out too long, and they didn't rush it. It was the pacing of that was great. The pacing of the entire episode was wonderful. The only complaints I would say is I wish that they wouldn't have separated them as much. It would have been cool to just get an ongoing Jon part and an ongoing Daenerys part, where they would have finished, one and then one, maybe like start off with Daenerys and just had a transition where Daenerys is from there to when she's talking to Theon and then move on to the start of the Jon. But I'm not really going to complain about that. I'm going to say it's my favorite episode of the season, possibly favorite episode of the entire show. I don't want to say that because there's been a lot of episodes, a lot of good episodes. I don't think there's been really one bad episode of the entire show. Like, Game of Thrones is one of those series that's like, there's some episodes that are not as good as others, but there's not really a bad episode that's just like, horrible to watch, which is why I love this show so much. But yeah, I think that wraps it up for this episode. Not much happened that you can actually talk about. It was a great episode. Loved it. Next week we have the season finale, and we might have a co-star on here with us, which is exciting. It depends if he can get caught up or not. But yeah, so next week we might have a co-star for the season finale of Season 6 of Game of Thrones. So catch you guys back next week. If you want to check out the posted video of this, then you can. There will be in probably an hour, maybe less, probably like 30-ish minutes, this video will be up on the channel live for you guys to watch and like and comment and things, which I can reply, because I see a lot of you guys have commented in this, but since this is going up on the YouTube channel, I don't really try to vocally comment back much, because it is, like I said, going to be going up on the YouTube channel, which I might eventually, if we get more in depth in things, have someone that reads comments and talks about you guys' opinion at some point. But that's it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, make sure to leave a like and check out the video in just a bit when that's up on YouTube. So, like I said, if you guys did enjoy, hit a like, and I will catch you guys in another one. I'll see you guys next week. Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 9, Battle of the Bastards review. Talk to you guys next week with the season finale. See you guys next time. Peace, peace.